You are Locked On Ole Miss, your daily podcast on the Ole Miss Rebels. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Thanks for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Hello, I'm Stephen Willis from the Locked On Ole Miss podcast, and I'm joined by Tom Vanderford like I am every Saturday morning. Now, this video goes out for free on Saturday morning, but we recorded on Thursday, and the news that just broke was that Mike Bianco was going to be returning for his 25th year at Ole Miss in 2025. Now, if you're a member, you can watch it immediately. So for our members and our everydayers, thank you very much. If not, you're going to be seeing this on Saturday morning. So, Tom, Mike Bianco retained as the Ole Miss baseball coach. Honestly, I'm just going to say this take out here. I think this was the right choice.
I do too. I've got a friend that I work with. He's a Diamond Club guy. He showed me a text this morning early, and that was going to happen. And I've been kind of hearing that all year, no matter what, that he would be retained. So let's just hope that we get, we had a really young team this year for the most part. Let's hope we get our pitching shored up, and let's just look forward to next year.
Yeah, and you have a situation to where he won a national championship. I realize that things have not gone well the last couple of years, which means you get the rope. You get the opportunity for 3 years to fix it if it messes up after you win a national title. Otherwise, think about all the prayers that Ole Miss fans had of what they would be willing to take if Ole Miss won a national championship. And then when it actually happened, no, we're not going to take those. We demand excellence, and you win every game, and there's no accepting everything. Basically, we have had over the last couple of days. Now, there's a lot of people grumbling about Mike Bianco. That's just normal. But the ones that are actually rip-roaring, calling for his job, and they're saying we're never going to go watch games again because all of that is such a small minority of the fan base. It's just a loud minority of the fan base.
I definitely agree. I think anybody who's saying that really attends the baseball games, they'll be there next year.
Yeah, they're just mad.
Yeah.
They're just emotional and lashing out. But it is what it is. Like I said, I think Keith Carter got this right, because with the lawsuit settlement, the Board of Governors unanimously approved it as well. The SEC and the ACC have to vote. They're going to pass it as well, and the settlement is going to be presented. It's probably going to be accepted, and when that happens, Ole Miss has 10 years to pay $300 million. And that is damages. That is the new world to where revenue sharing is now happening. That is the new world where you have to fund certain scholarships that you didn't have to before. So that budget line item is a real thing. I understand that everybody wants sports to be like it was in 2008. Lord knows I want it to be that way as well. But that doesn't happen. And constantly worrying about that isn't going to change everything. So you need to figure out a way to succeed the best you can in the new environment that is coming up. And the way you do that is probably by taking a beat and seeing how these settlements and all of that really affect your budget before agreeing to another $10 million of dead money.
I agree. I think, they're being proactive in the UMAA, and I'm glad they are. That's a whole lot of money. Of course, Ole Miss gets a lot more than that every year, but that's still a good chunk of change, right? That's $30 million a year over, for 10 years.
Yeah, it's a lot. Well, Ole Miss has been used to having an athletic budget of about $120 million. After this lawsuit comes through, that might as well take that athletic budget down to $90 million. And if you add another $10 million, and I get the fact that you might get it from a booster and it's not coming from TV revenue, but that is money that is being allocated for something else that was once designed for something that you need. So It's not available. So I think that it's nice to just take a beat on this and to see what's up and protect football at all cost. All costs. That is the front door of your university. Protect that. Absolutely.
Yeah, that would definitely be the first priority. And, we've got a natty in baseball, but, I would submit to you that it would be fairly equal between basketball and baseball right now, as far as what's going on. But yeah, football is the bell cow. That's the money. That's what it's all about.
So let's change the subject. Deion Smith finally got eligible to go to Ole Miss. This is an electric wide receiver.
Oh, yeah.
Just an absolutely electric wide receiver. And I think Trey Harris is going to be better because of Deion Smith.
I think you're right. And Lane Kiffin's been trying to get this kid to Oxford forever, it seems like. And he finally got his guy. I don't think people understand what he's going to do for our football team. I think he's a one and done type talent. And you got him, you got Harris, you got Caden Lee, Aiden Williams, you got Watkins. Goes on and on. We've got so much talent at that position.
Yeah, the wide receiver room is absolutely stacked. It's probably the best room in the entire country. I think Trey Harris is the best wide receiver in the country. And then you add Deion Smith, this might be one of the best receivers that we've seen in an Ole Miss uniform. And now you're not going to be able to double team either one of them, because even in the middle, I think Juice Wells is going to end up being the slot receiver, or Jordan Watkins. I think Caden Priestcorn and Daquan Wright, they're going to patrol the middle of the field because of what's going to be given into them on the outside. Because I think that everybody is going to go into a game scared to death of Trey Harris. And by the end of the year, they'll be scared to death of Deion Smith as well.
I agree. And like you just mentioned, it's going to open up that tight end game like you wouldn't believe, And I feel pretty confident that Lane's chomping at the bits offensively.
Yes. And Jerome Mells, by the way, a 2025 kid, got his 5th star on 24/7. So Ole Miss got a 5-star receiver, and it's not the 5-star that everybody's been hoping for and wanting for. Caleb Cunningham's still out there. There's a chance that Ole Miss might get dual 5-stars this cycle.
It's possible. It's possible. And the kid from Utah is who you're talking about. And he's something else. He's something else. You look at him, he's super fast.
Yes, he ran a 10.3 100 or something like that.
Yeah.
Just absurdly fast.
Oh, yeah.
So thanks again for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. Whenever we come back, we're going to put Tom Vanderford on the hot seat. Top 5 running backs in Ole Miss history. We'll see what Tommy has to say in just a second. But Gametime is an official authorized ticket marketplace of the NBA, which makes getting playoff tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Gametime app actually go down the closer it gets to tip off, with killer last minute deals, all in prices, views from your seats, and the lowest price guarantee. Gametime takes the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets. They have views from all the seats in the venues. They have all the customer service work that you would hope a ticketing organization would have, like lowest price guarantee, events cancellation, job loss protection. Take the guesswork out of buying NBA tickets with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE for $20 off. Download the Gametime app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Also, it's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL, and FanDuel is giving you a chance to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers can get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. Visit FanDuel.com/lockedon to make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, it's America's #1 sportsbook. And are you watching Fox Sports and ESPN on your TV all day and you have to turn down the volume with all of that screaming and shouting? Make the switch to Locked On Sports today. It's a free 24/7 sports streaming channel programmed for you every single day to bring you the biggest stories without all of that screaming. Locked On Sports Today brings you can't miss analysis, opinions, and news streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. All right, Tommy, you're on the hot seat. Top 5 running backs in Ole Miss history. The way that everybody knows that this works, we go 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We figure out what's going on. Interesting. There's so many running backs in the Ole Miss history that you get different lists, and there's such a vary on it. It's kind of pretty cool as well. So, top 5 running backs in Ole Miss history. Number 5.
Dew Innocent. Number 4, Randy Baldwin.
Yeah, Randy Baldwin. Randy Baldwin's low-key one of my favorite Ole Miss players ever. Not just running back, players.
Yeah.
That was when I was 13 years old, that 89 season. Obviously, that was the Chucky Mullins season, but John Darnell was the quarterback. I remember that game against Air Force in the Liberty Bowl. The next year, Ole Miss ended up going to the Gator Bowl. That was that Michigan game that they had to play the Wolverines as well. But yeah, that era right there, you can't be much more Ole Miss focused than I was at that point in time.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I remember that well. I was teaching school in Millington, Tennessee, and got to watch my old friend from the YMCA tear Air Force apart. Mr. Darnell and Mr. Baldwin had a heck of a game. So yeah, and that, they had all that emotion that, Chucky was there, and it was just a wonderful time.
Yeah, and if you think about that 89 season, you had the Rich Jebbia touchdown catch against Tulane. You had Reed Hines touchdown catch against Georgia, which was last second winning touchdown catches. You had a touchdown drop against LSU. They did not complete the pass in the end zone. And I think there was one more, if I'm not mistaken, but they were truly the cardiac Rebs in 89.
Right. Exactly. So I'm down to number 3, correct?
Number 3. Yeah, number 3.
Yeah, Quinshon Judkins.
Okay.
And number 2, Dexter McCluster.
Dexter McCluster is, I think he's a must.
Yeah.
He is, whenever you deal with the D-Max and the number 22s, I think number 1 and number 2 is almost just set in stone right now.
I agree. Because number 1, of course, is Deuce McAllister.
Yeah, and Deuce McAllister, I compare him multiple times. If you've watched all of these extra videos and all of that, you've heard me talk about it. Deuce McAllister is a late 90s version of an early 80s running back.
Yep.
He that era with Marcus Dupree and Bo Jackson, Herschel Walker, when running backs ran college football, that had changed over to the quarterbacks and the wide receivers in the 90s. But then you had this Deuce McAllister guy. And by the time he was done, he was 225 pounds, could run like a deer. And Deuce McAllister was just a fantastic player. That's a good list, Tommy.
That's all right.
Yeah, the one thing that you didn't put in is John Avery was not on your list. And John Avery Fast
was number 6, and Joe Gunn was number 7.
Where's Ben Jarvis on your list?
He would be in the top 10. He was a solid workhorse,
Yeah, it was a situation whenever Ben Jarvis was transferring from Indiana, and this is pre-transfer portal for everybody that knows, like 2005 or something like that. It was after a year of Miko McSwain being the top running back for Ole Miss's football team. But Ben Jarvis was transferring in, and all these rumors started happening about He's going to go back to Indiana. He's going to go back to, it was like over and over a week that it happened. And eventually, I think they called a team meeting, because whenever the clock started, it was like you're officially on the team whenever you attend a team function or something like that. And they just randomly called a team meeting just to end it. And Ben Jarvis was there. He went to that meeting, and the rest was history.
Yeah, the law firm.
Yes.
He was a good hard running back.
Yes. And listen, I don't want to say that I'm overlooking Corey Philpott. Corey Philpott was a fantastic running back. Marvin Courtney, that's another running back. Like I said, that was my era. Ed Thigpen, which is touchdown celebration against Air Force in that 89 Liberty Bowl. I'll never forget that as well. Sean Sykes and Joe Mickles, the Alabama game. Ole Miss has had some running backs, but seemingly recently, as in Randy Baldwin to now, they've been really good at the running back position. Before then, you had running backs like that would get 300 or 400 yards in a season. After that is when the 1,000-yard season started happening. Part of that had to do with the fact that they only played 11 games, and then they played 12 starting in like 2002.
Here's a blast from the past. Paul Hofer.
Okay.
Yeah. Played for the 49ers. Kind of a utility player, but yeah, he was a Reb.
Yeah. I'm going to drop a Steve Heineman, because he did some cardiology work on me back when I played high school football. But yeah, he's from Newton, Mississippi. He went to high school with my father. So yeah, the Steve and Stan Heineman. I always look at them, because obviously my dad's a huge Ole Miss fan, and there's two Ole Miss players that happened. I think Stan Heineman is known for like running down a super fast LSU player at the goal line. I think that happened as well.
Hey, I got another one for you. Buford McGee.
Yes, Buford McGee from
Tupelo, Mississippi.
I thought he was like from French Camp.
I think he's from Tupelo. I may be wrong.
Hey, in the comments, tell us where Buford McGee was from. You can do that. But yeah, Buford McGee, he was fantastic. He ended up going to the LA Rams. I think he did. And he ended up backing up Eric Dickerson, which, there's worse gigs than that,
Oh, yeah. He made a good living. He was in the NFL for a long time. I think he did some time with the Chargers, too. I may be wrong.
Yeah, it's possible.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's been so many good running backs that Ole Miss have had over the years. But
that's true. And it was hard to do that. And I know it was slanted towards more recent times, but the past 24 years or so. But
offense, it's become so much more offensive. Mm-hmm. People forget, like whenever me and you were younger, whenever Gen X was younger, it was not rare to have a 10-6 game, a 7-3 ball game, because everything was so defense oriented. The offense is coming live. That's actually a new thing.
Yeah.
So
exactly.
It's interesting. Yeah. But thank you for making the Locked On Ole Miss podcast your first listen every day. We're free and available wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. We're part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every single day. Anyway, Tom Vanderford, thank you so much. What do you got going on this weekend, buddy?
Oh, man, just going to relax and hang out with the family.
That sounds like a fantastic weekend. I'm going to do about the same thing down here in Florida as well. So have a good weekend, buddy, and we'll talk to you next week.
Yes, sir. You take care, and hotty toddy.
All right. By the way, are you going to the meet and greet?
Yeah. You talking about the meet and greet down in Ridgeland?
Yeah, it's going to be in Ridgeland at Walk-Ons.
I'm going to try my best.
Okay. I tried to make it at least north of Jackson, so people in northern Mississippi could get down a little bit. But my mom's in Vicksburg, so I'm kind of locked into that I-20 corridor.
I got you.
All right, bud. We will talk to you next week, man.
All right. Take care, buddy.